Hi, good afternoon. My name is Carolyn Hale with DAS, and we are doing the weekly recap of week 2 in our Best Trader competition this fall.
Hello everybody, my name is Michael DeJoya. I'm the Director of Institutional Sales here at DAS Trader, and I'm going to be going through some of the trader statistics, going through some of the stocks that we've seen traders trade over the course of the week, and we're going to just talk about some great talking points about what traders should do, what they shouldn't do, how traders have been doing in the competition, and review some of the results, and just give you some great advice on how you could do better in the competition overall and maybe in future competitions if you've already knocked yourself out. Hopefully you didn't knock yourself out, but a few of you guys have already done that. So without any further ado, I'm going to just move this right along. And we're covering the period of time from September 9th to September 13th. And we're going to be analyzing a couple of stocks that we kept seeing pop up on the radar screen. And we're going to talk a little bit about what we've seen traders trade. One of the stocks that we've seen a tremendous amount of activity on is MNK. MNK had a looming deadline in a class action suit. And because of that looming deadline, there was a significant increase in the volume of trade going on in MNK. So there was allegations of significant safety concerns, as well as some materially false and misleading statements, never good in the public market. But what we did see is that investors, basically dumped their positions initially. The stock had some more positive news. It surged up over the course of a couple of days, and then basically over the course of the entire week just settled back in. A number of people got caught in this very, very aggressive and volatile price action. And as a result, some people moved up in the competition and others got knocked out completely. And this is what we want to kind of urge you not to do. You don't want to be a one stock wonder. You don't want to pop up for one day. You really want to focus towards consistent trading, and you're going to see that reoccurring theme over the course of today's presentation here. Another stock that really increased in its activity over the course of the week was Yum Brands. YUMA is the symbol. On September 10th, they announced that they're going to be Red Mountain will be purchasing all the outstanding senior secured debt. And as a result, the stock surged up and then gave back a lot of those gains. And some people made a lot of money on the initial surge, and some people made a lot of money on the subsequent short. Over the next 2 days, it kind of settled in, and then it had a huge gap up and a very big gap fade. And we have a tremendous amount of gap traders here in the competition, so we saw a lot of people pop up and just really emerge from nowhere in the rankings as a result of Yum Brands and YUMA. And so basically what the overall story is, and I just want to put this all into perspective, that news trumps charts. So the charts are created as a result to people's perception and reaction to the news. So what you can see here is that you have a very significant increase on the day of the news release. So here is the 10th. The 11th, the next day, we get a significant increase and a very big surge to the upside. Everybody kind of digests and understands what's going on as a result of that surge. And then the stock subsequently settles back and falls back to the area from which it came. Over 2 days, people digest what's going on, and then we have a subsequent gap up on their effort to restructure the company's balance sheet and potentially increase profitability going forward. Now, the big gap up gaps right into what was prior resistance, okay, now becomes resistance yet again. So this is major resistance at the very topping tail here on what we see on the left of the chart. And we settle back into what was prior resistance, now becomes support. So you very often see in charts look just like this, where what was the ceiling before becomes the ceiling again, and what was the floor now becomes the floor anew. And the gap traders that really focused on trading between these key price points, they did incredibly well. And we're going to look, when we go look at the trader rankings, some traders pretty much got themselves into the top 10 by trading Yum Brands. The next one is CLDR. CLDR, another stock that's in the news. So I just want you to see there's a reoccurring theme here. stocks that pop up on our radar pop up because some news catalyst brings them into
Yes.
focus. And once they're in focus, you have to trade them technically. And in this case, CLDR gaps up onto the scoreboard. We see a big gap up here on CLDR. It basically, this would be called a breakaway gap. This happened, basically 2 weeks ago. Stock continues to trend upward, breaks out to the upside, and then obviously settles in over the course of the week. But there's some big wide range candles with a lot of volatility that basically brought this stock into traders' attention and kept it there. And what is the news? What's the catalyst? So CLDR has a tremendous amount of impact from the U.S. trade negotiations with China. So we've seen this as a reoccurring theme over the course of this this entire quarter. Everybody's worried about China trade negotiations and what's going on with the tariffs. And as a result, we've seen the shares of CLDR jump 14%, okay, surging into everybody's radar screen and people trading it accordingly. It is an enterprise data cloud specialist. It had some really good second quarter financial results. And now they're talking about some acquisition related to Arcadia Data. So you have a lot of news related to this stock. It just keeps popping up and keeps popping on people's radar screens, and people just keep trading it accordingly. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump to the ranking screen.
Escape.
Okay. Okay, now let's just bring this back up over here. I think this is what we hit. All right, so here we are. We're just looking at the top 10 traders. Now, I took some notes, about various different traders of mention. So the first one I wanted to talk about is Best 114. I would say that Best 114 is probably the most consistent trader, and we're going to start doing things like mentioning who's the most consistent, who is the trader who is looking to hit singles and doubles versus home runs and potentially striking out. I'm also going to mention those who do hit home runs and then do strike out, because we want to focus on good, consistent, correct trading behavior. We want to encourage you traders to treat this competition just like you'd be treating it as if this were your own money.
Yeah.
And obviously that's probably how you're going to do well. If you treat this like it's real money, you're probably going to do well in the competition. So let's talk about Best 114. We have him as our most consistent trader for the week. Took a big hit on Wednesday around 3 p.m., but basically recovered. So you can literally dip and rip. In this case, he did. Now, obviously, it would be better that he never took a big hit than take a big hit and just luckily get it back. But the fact that he did manage to get it back could have been just it was a market anomaly. On Wednesday, this Wednesday, we had the Fed announcement.
Yeah.
So there was a news announcement. He was probably gambling a little bit on the Fed. But most of his trading activity was focused in YUMA, CTRM, so YUMA, CTRM, and FRAN. So pretty much scalping and trading actively on those three names. Best number 209, also a very consistent trader, has been gradually profitable over the course of the week. And, we could see that number one is Best 114. So our most consistent trader, still most consistent. He's got $7,000 in just over $7,000 in gains. So he's built himself a nice cushion in terms of being ahead of all the rest. Best 209, never taking any kind of spikes to the upside or spikes to the downside, has built themselves a $7,000 price cushion as well to the upside. And then we have our next honorable mention, which is Best 130, which did not trade at all until Thursday. But as of this week, it took a little bit of a hit. So where is Best Best 130? Where is he at right now?
He's right here. This is as of Friday. And this is what he was trading. He was heavy in MNK.
So as of Friday, he was number 3.
Yes, as of Friday, he was number 3. Currently, as of today he's almost all the way down at the bottom in the high 80s.
In the high 80s. So basically, womp, 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 womp. Swung for the fences, got himself up to position number 3 as of Friday.
Yep.
Took a big swing for the fences on Thursday, and then blew himself out completely, and is now ranked in the 80s.
Yep.
And took himself way down. So we got basically best 130. Came out of nowhere, pops up, takes a huge gain on MNK.
Yep.
And then got completely wiped out thereafter. That's what you really don't want to do. I really want to encourage everybody to be slow and steady and to win the race.
Yes.
Remember the old adage of the tortoise and the hare? The slow and steady wins the race. And we could see that in best 114 and in best 209. The next one that I'd like to point out is best 120. Best 120 is our another slow and steady trader. Also not trading very heavily until Thursday, but is heavy in a position of the SPY, which is the overall market itself.
Yep.
And of course is also in Apple, a blue chip, right? One of the so goes Apple, so goes the market these days. So you have basically Apple remaining, in very, very strong position. The S&P has gone up for, basically about 11 days. So as a result, best 120 staying in rank position number 4. We also have best 244 and best 138 in the honorable mention area. And I just want to point out a couple things. So look at this nice equity curve on best 114. Basically slow and steady, has a little dip there and then a rip, and basically recovers things and is doing very, very nicely. Our most consistent 209 with a little spike one day, but generally being profitable is very good. Best 130, slow and steady, little dip, little rip, pull back, but very good. Not a ton of activity. But by the way, what I like to see is that somebody's trading every day.
Yes.
And pulling money out of the market most days. Look, if you losing is part of the game. Okay? The business involves risk, and risk is sometimes you're not going to do well. So, yes, I would rather see somebody that's trading every day, that's making money most days, but in some days is pulling back and giving a little bit of money back, because at least they're trying.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, listen, there's also something to be said for somebody who doesn't see any opportunity in the market and chooses not to trade that day because there's no opportunity.
Right.
And you have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and know when to run. That the market is very, very much, like that. You need to know when to sit on hands and when the opportunities aren't there. But I don't necessarily like to see zero activity and then big spikes. I'd rather see somebody who's trying to give it a shot most days. And, a lot of these traders are trying to give it a shot. And I do like to see that they look, a little up, down. We're seeing people that are pretty much consistently giving a good attempt at this, and are trading the way that they would be trading on their own account. And if you were trading for your own account, you'd be trying to make money each day, and you probably wouldn't just be sitting on your hands every day and waiting for some big phenomenal move, and you probably wouldn't take your whole account and risk it in MNK.
Right.
Best 130 did.
Right.
And that obviously blew up in his face as well, or their face. We just want you to try to treat this like it's your own money, learn to use the software, learn to use the tools, and to do the best you possibly can. And I think you'll be very successful as very successful in the competition and as a trader as well. So let's just go back. And what do we hit here? We're going to wrap it up for this week. Just basically some questions for you, okay? I would love to hear from you. I'd also like to mention anybody who is watching this. I'd like you to follow me on, Dash Trader Mike is my Instagram account, Dash Trader Mike. I'd love to hear about what your strategy. They could also send.
They can also email us. We'd love to hear from you. Any questions, comments, suggestions that you have.
Yep. So I'd love to hear what your strategy is, and you could DM me over at Dash Trader Mike. I'd like to hear what you found is most successful for you as a trader. So I'd love to get some comments from you as to what you think has been the most successful for you as a trader. I'd also like to hear about what your trader mistakes were. Like, what are some of the things that you learned over the course of the competition? What did you do accidentally that ended up working out well? Or working out poorly, but you learned something from it? Because, we learn from mistakes. And that brings me, I'd just like to hear what you learned. And any additional comments that you might have, we'd love to hear from you.
We'd also love to have you on and be able to interview you, and you can be a part of this live stream, and you can talk personally and share some of your experience and what you learned.
Yeah, and you don't have to be here in New York. In fact, very rarely am I actually here in the Dash Trader office. But we can bring you in and interview you from through a link with Zoom. So you can certainly participate in this. If you're interested, you could let me know or send us an email at info@numberonebesttrader.com. So the competition runs from September 3rd all the way through October 15th. Every Thursday now we are doing this broadcast. If you want to be on our next live stream, just let us know. Send us an email, and we're going to be taking probably one person because we don't have a tremendous amount of time. We'll interview one person for the next one and possibly another person for the next one after that.
Please do be advised also that the competition will end sharply at 4 p.m. on October 15th, so there will not be any post-market trading.
Yes, and make sure you exit all of your positions. I mean, we've considered disqualifying people if they do not exit their positions at market close on October 15th.
Yeah.
So please make sure you close all of your positions and you're flat going into the close on October 15th. On that note, everybody, I hope you found today's session informative.
Yep.
And I look forward to seeing you next week on this weekly recap of the #1 Best Trader competition. Thank you to you all from Dash Trader and from #1 Best Trader. Look forward to seeing you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.